Oh man, it is hot today. But that's good because we have ourselves a nice cold tub to dive into a little later in the evening. And we're taking the next step in our journey to backyard Bliss today by installing another cooling device for hot days like this. As you can see behind me, we've got a pergola that I built out of redwood a few years back, and we are going to add to that a mist system to have mist on the hot days. I'm also going to put a mist system up in our gazebo. I will show you that a little later, but we are going to start with the pergola so that we can have some nice outdoor activities before it gets to the late evening hours when the hot sun is still beaming down. Here we go. Alright, as usual, we have more projects going on than I can handle. We are refinishing a piece of old furniture back there. I've got an Iron Man helmet on my shop table. My wife is butt dancing into the video. Hello, wifey. Alright, but seriously, back to the box. This is the box that the misters just arrived in. And wifey overly zealously opened the box immediately, so we couldn't do it on camera. But let's just check out the contents. We've got our bits and pieces here. Very exciting. Oh, it's actually both misting systems. It looks like it came in one. So we've got one for the pergola and one for the gazebo. And let's figure out which is which and get our pieces out and start working. Okay, this is the larger of the two, our 50-foot misting system. So this is the one we are going to use for the pergola. Let's pop it open. It is called Pocket Panda. I don't know that it could be any more adorable than that. Let's see what's inside. Yeah, basically what was in the other one. A bag full of bits and pieces. Cool, we've got some instructions, so that's a good start. I've never put together a misting system before, so we're gonna figure this out together. Okay, these are some super comprehensive instructions. Are you ready? Here we go. Cut the pipe to get the length you want. And the cutter apparently has an on-off switch. I think it's a lock. And then please assemble as shown in the figure above. So we're gonna have the spigot adapter go straight into a pipe and then travel on to each T-joint, T-joint, to T-joint, to T-joint, and so the end where we're gonna have just a coupler and a plug to seal the system off, and that is it. Those are the instructions for setting this up. You can also install this on a fan. There's a way to put it onto fans, which that's kind of cool. It's not what we're gonna do here. We're gonna do it on our pergola, but that's it. Those are the instructions. This is, yeah, very comprehensive. I think we got this. Let's do it. Here's the gear. We got a lot of pipe, 50 feet of it to be exact. We've got our pipe cutter, super neato. We've got two different adapters to go to our hoses. I don't know why, because I can't imagine that this works for anything. Maybe it does. I don't know. I don't know what that one's for, but it looks like this is the one we want to use because this is the one that is fitted for the pipe, and it's got a little press fit. And then this is our coupler for the very end, and our plug that goes in the coupler. It also looks like they gave us a screen, which I'm gonna bet fits right in here for our hose adapter. Yeah, looks like it does. Alrighty, we've also got a bunch of zip ties and little tack mounts to mount the hose to the pergola with a hammer. Easy peasy. And then we've got our T-joints here. So step one, we've got a hose attached here that we use to spray some of the plants in our backyard, or as needed. This hose is actually moving to the front yard to replace an old hose that has busted, and then that old hose is going to come back here and get a repair job before it becomes our less used hose. We have a splitter that is coming in that is going to split this water valve off into two. It is not here yet though, so for now we are disconnecting the hose altogether and we are installing this drip system directly in. But I'm going to come back on that when we get this splitter, and I'm going to, you know, make them both come to the same thing, add extra valves as needed to turn them on and off, and maybe I'll do a little follow-up on that if I don't get it done during this video. But it's pretty straightforward. Essentially, we're just going to be screwing directly onto this water out tap that has its own valve right here at the back of my wall. Quickly here before this hose goes away, one of the most brilliant things my wife has done in the past few weeks is to wrap this hose around an old basket frame. It's a metal frame. The basket totally, you know, went to crap, but the frame was still solid, and now it is our hose wrap, and it's just perfect. It's totally portable, easy to just pick it up and move it. Yay, good call. Okay, hose is swapped. Next step is to attach the spigot, and this, whoa, my goodness. Oh, this guy's got a press fit lock for the hose in it, so it is, how should we say, angle agnostic. It doesn't care what angle that hose is at, particularly as long as the hose isn't bent. So I'm going to screw it in before I attach it to the hose so that I'm not like flipping the hose around a billion times trying to get this thing locked. Also, this did not come with Teflon tape. If you don't have any Teflon tape, pop down to the hardware store. It's like $1 for a roll. I'm going to use it here to make sure that we've got a clean, watertight seal. We got a nice tight fit, so the next thing we're going to do is pop these zip ties, open up our hose, push fit it in, and then start to run it up to our pergola. Right, so the way that these work is you line it up with my finger side, my pointer finger side, up against the surface, in this case the face of the pergola that you want to hammer into. You want to clamp the clamp around your hose, and then just pop the back of that nail and drive it right in to hold that thing in place. We're going to do this a billion times. They also gave us zip ties to secure it here in case of need, but you know, I think if I get a pretty good clean lock, I might not need them. So let's try it without first, and then reinforce where needed. Yeah, totally. That worked exactly as planned. I don't think these zip ties are even going to be required. These things tack in really nicely. They hold the hose really well. So far, I've just got one of them in so far, and I ran myself some extra hose line because, like I said, that attachment to the spigot is going to change a little bit. So I wanted to give myself like an extra foot or two in case, you know, in case things change moving forward. But I think it's time to tack the rest of this up. Once I've got the hose run along all the outside external walls of the pergola, the rails up there, then I'll go back, figure out exactly where I want to put the Mr. T's in, the Mr. T's, the Mr. T junction, the Mr. T's. Let's just call them Mr. T's because of course we're going to call them Mr. T's. And once I've figured out where those are, then I'll go ahead and cut the line where appropriate and install them one by one. Right, I stepped out of the hot sun for just a quick break. It's time for lunch, and my brain kicked in, and I thought, wait a minute, why am I hanging my misters on the side of my pergola where water will just run down my beautiful redwood? Even though it's been water treated, I still would like that to not happen. So I actually undid that tack and then tacked it back up on the underside. I'm going to run the line on the underside of the pergola with the Mr. T's facing downwards so that no water actually hits my redwood. Much better idea. Also, instead of tacking everywhere I think I want to tack, until I get the T-junctions put in, I think what I'm going to do is probably just use 3 or 4 tacks evenly spaced per side just to get the hose running up along the base of the pergola rails. Before I actually do all of the tacking, I'm going to go ahead and install those T-junctions, figure out exactly where I want them, cut the line, do all that work, and then do the reinforcement tacking to hold everything in place one at a time after the T-junctions come up. I think that's going to be the ideal way to continue this installation. After lunch. All right, that is not bad as far as estimates go. We got 50 feet worth of hose. I think I got like 1.5 feet hanging off the end that I need to trim. That ain't bad at all. So good estimate all around. We are pretty well suspended with minimal tacking all the way around the perimeter on the underside of these rails, and then back down straight to the tap with just a little bit of wiggle room here. I might pull this back a little bit actually. Oh, yeah, that's what happens. You pull it straight out of the tack when you do minimal tacking. Anyway, I'm going to adjust that, fix it real quick, and then we'll be good to go. Right, I think the next order of business is to put the end plug in the end. And again, these are just push fittings. So this is the plug. It just pushes right in and blocks it. And the same, we're just going to push the line into the other end, and then when the water runs through that line, it'll hit this block and not go any further. All right, now it's time for some quick math. So it looks like what we've got are enough of these Mr. T's to do 4 on each side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down along the front. I've got an extra one, so that 7th may go into the front. We shall see. Here we go. This cutter device is pretty cool, but I've actually decided to forego it and to use my traditional snips because I'm familiar with this tool. You want to try this if this comes with your thing? Yeah, go for it. I'm sure it'll work. But I want accuracy and precision, so I'm going with these. All right, so I have measured out the walls, the rims of my pergola, and I've done the math, and it looks like to get 4 along the sides, I'm gonna go every 2 foot and 4 inches to get them evenly spaced down the side. I've got an almost 12-foot run there. So what I'm just basically gonna do is snip the line at that point. I've already marked them out, and then put in my T-junction on each side and pull out the slack and move down the line all the way down. Okay, overall that was a pretty good success. However, I don't know if you can even see this. Yeah, here we go. There's a couple of places in the line that were just ripped open. I had to cut out 2 chunks here. I don't know what happened, but this is pretty massive damage. I was able to make it work, but I had to alter up my spacing of the nozzles a little bit. Not a big deal. I've got one left in case I run into any other trouble. I can splice in another Mr. T junction wherever needed, but let's go ahead and test the system and see how it works. All right, we have high pressure water at our house, so I'm just going to open my nozzle just a teensy and we'll see what happens. I've not adjusted any of the Mr. T nozzles yet. We may need to adjust those individually as needed. There was no instructions. Start with a tiny bit of water. And, oh, I got some drips happening. Drips are good. That's a step. Let's do a little more pressure. Oh, yeah, we got some mist happening. Let's check it out. Oh, yeah. Oh, all the way around. This is fantastic. I don't know if you can catch it on the camera here, but this is pretty decent. I'm going to walk through it, get on the other side. Whew, you can see it starting to hit the ground there. Let's see if we can get it from this angle with the sun at our back. Yeah, it's not really photographing well, but I'll tell you what, it feels great. It looks like we're coming out all the way around. That's fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and tweak all these nozzles to get them all perfect. Looks like I have a supervisor out here for the end of the project. How do you think it turned out, Mika-chan? Think it was good? Nothing to say? All right, well, anyway, back to the nozzle here. We have installed the splitter. It finally came in the mail, and it has a valve for each line, which is awfully nice. Right now it is open for the hose and closed for my drip system. I'm going to reverse that and open it up for my drip system and close it for my hose. And we'll turn it on one more time now that I've adjusted all of the Mr. T's so you can see this thing work in its full glory. Here we go. really just fantastic. It's been a super hot day today, and this mist is exactly the ticket. Just fantastic stuff. I'm digging it. Anyway, this project turned out really amazing. If you like this content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Make and Believe.